This is just a basic high-level overview of Google Forms. So remember, when you start a Google form, if you want to file it where you will logically find it, it's best to start within the folder that you will be looking for it in a later date. So I'm in Canner Summer Camp 2017, and I'm just going to open up the Welcome subfolder. So from in here, I go to New, More, and Google Forms. When this opens, it needs a title, but it also needs a title down here. So the simplest thing to do is to put the title within the Google form, and then I click up here and it automatically has it typed up there, so I don't have to type it a second time. So it starts you out with a title. You can put a form description in if you want. You put your questions in here, and you choose the different types of questions over here. So these are all of your options for what types of questions or prompts that you want to provide to your users. And again, the file upload is the newest one, where if you're coaching a sport and you want to have your students, your players, submit pictures of themselves, headshots of themselves, if you give them this option, Google will automatically make a folder for all of your submissions, your respondents' submissions, to go into, so that as the owner of the form, you only have to go one place to view all of them or download all of them. So if I click continue, it allows me to specify if I want it just to be a video, if I want it just to be an image, or you can leave it unspecified and they can upload whatever they want. You can choose a maximum number of files for them to upload, so whether it's 1 or 5, maybe you're looking for 3 files from them, or up to 10. You can also specify the maximum file size. Remember that you can require or not require answers to any of these questions. If I wanted to include another question, I can either duplicate this, in which case I wouldn't have to change anything, or I can just go to the plus sign and it will add a new question for me. And again, I can choose whatever one of these that I want to choose. I'll just say short answer for now. And that's what a required question would look like. There are the more buttons here so that you can add a description to this question. So whatever my question is, maybe I'm asking for an email, but I want them to remember it's the Upper Adams email. I would put it in here. Now, since I'm asking for an email, I can do what is called data validation. So my response validation, and I can choose from any one of these, and depending upon which one of these I choose over here, I will have different options to choose from over here. So if I choose text, it says an email address. So it must look like an email address. If it doesn't, I will provide some sort of a tip for them to go back and check it. And so forth. I can add a title and a description here. Here's where I, as the teacher, can add an image. I could also add a video if I want them to view something to learn or just to review. And this will give me a new section so that I can have different pages. At the top here is our top menu bar. So I can undo, make a copy. I can do all of this right from the more buttons. From the gear, this is where you can automatically collect their email address. Just remember that if you provide response receipts, that they will get everything that they submitted to you, they will get a copy back. So if you're using this as a test, make sure that that is not selected. I typically don't even collect their emails from them here. You can limit how many responses they have. You can let them edit after they submit. So if you're letting them do like a test retake or a homework resubmission, and they can see other people's responses here. So be careful with this one as well. So that's under the General tab. There's also the Presentation tab. How do you want your users to see this? You can have a progress bar. That's really only useful if you have multiple pages, different sections. You can shuffle the questions around so that the students aren't seeing the same questions in the exact same order. Makes cheating a little bit harder. You can provide a link for them to submit another response, or if it's a test and you only want them doing it once, unselect that. You can put a confirmation message in here it would simply be this unless you changed it. If you put a URL in your confirmation message, when your respondents complete your form, when they get their confirmation message, that URL will be a live link that they can click on, and it will take them somewhere else. So if they're taking a test, you could do like a little anticipatory activity for them to complete while they wait for everybody else to finish their tests. And then quizzes, you can make this a quiz or not. Just be careful because we've had some issues with students receiving back their submissions after they complete a quiz. Quizzes will allow you to grade things automatically, but test it out before you choose the quizzes option, because Flubaroo also does a good job of grading quizzes for you. I'm just going to turn this back off. So you can save or cancel. If you've made changes, obviously save. This is where you can go and look at what your form would look like. So that's called the preview button. And it just shows you what it would look like, and you can complete this if you were a student. So I could add a file here, and I can add another one if I want. I'm just going to leave it as one. And there's my submission. I'm going to provide my email. They get this error message until it is actually an email formatted entry. And there it goes away. So as a respondent, I would submit. And because we didn't change it, it just gives me your response has been recorded. So that was under preview. Color palette is where you would change from this dark and light purple to something other than that. If you want more than just colors, if you click on this button down here, you can choose from all sorts of different graphics. You can upload your own photos. So I'm just going to choose a night out since we are all adults here. There, we'll do some popcorn, and I'll click on select, and it has changed my background. So you see the popcorn is popping over here. And then there are add-ons that you can add to this for some more functionality. So these are some of them that I have used in the past. And if you want to send this out, you can either put it in Google Classroom and click the Drive icon at the bottom and come out to your Drive and find the form, or you can simply copy the link. Don't forget there's a shortener if you're putting this up on the board. So I'm just going to close this. As the owner of the form, I have this second tab right here called Responses, where I can go in and I can look at a summary of all of my responses. So here I could go and view my folder. It takes me right to the folder where all the submissions have been put, and there's my submission. I'm going to close this folder. If I wanted to look at the individual submissions, I can do that. If I had more than one, I could click on this up-down arrow here, or I can scroll between them. I can delete individual submissions if I want. And then there is always the link to the Google spreadsheet if you're looking to view everybody's responses all at once. So that's just a high-level overview, just to refresh before we move on with the next activity.